What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be going over Jeff's Devora deck that he played in this week's Campus Championship. Let's jump into it. Alright, so Devora, one of my absolute favorite Mortal Kombat characters. She is an aggro monster. She just wants to... She's a 7 hand size, 17 vitality, but truly the definition of a glass cannon. All of her attacks get absolutely massive, and then at the very end of her chain, she pretty much ignores progressive difficulty, gains a bunch of life, and then smacks you one last time. Just when you think she's done attacking, she's got one more bullet left in the gun. In addition to that, she also, with that once per turn, is really good on my opponent's turn, because it just says my next check becomes X. And it means that I can block one thing really good. And so not only does she gain a bunch of life if you've played this big long string, if you played 4 attacks in your card pool, and I've got 1 attack in my card pool, I'm going to gain 5 and then plus 5 to my block. It's just like really, really good on defense as well. She's just got like she's a bit of a, not a desperation character, but a desperate character. She pushes that panic button really well. So let's see what the deck looks like. So this deck is under Chaos, and so the first deck that we're playing is for Payon Thrust. It is a 4 high for 4. That says if it's completely blocked, you just add it back up to your hand. Inside of Devora, it's a 4 high for 5. And this is your next combo attack. It's is easier to play and gets extra damage. And so we're going to be playing a combo late inside of our chain, and my opponent knows it. And so they have to either eat this 5 damage, or they have to partially block it and still eat 3. Totally okay for us. Up next, we're playing a new card, and the reason the deck was made is we're playing for Tomahawk Swing, another 4 damage attack. This card says that my opponent's block modifier gets +2 whenever they attempt to block this thing, which means it's essentially a 6 high for 5 inside of Devora, or 4 plus X with Devora. And it also says after I've poked you with a Payon Thrust or something, I can discard momentum in order to, if my attack deals damage, destroy a bunch of committed foundations and then build the top ones from the top of my deck. It just lets me extend my turn a little further. One of the issues with Devora that Devora has is before she uses her once per turn, she can sometimes overcommit herself. And this card just lets me kind of re-ready my whole staging area. Up next, we're playing for Yasuo Supia. This card just says that my attacks get speed and damage if my opponent doesn't have any committed stuff. So like a really good play is to go Payon Thrust Supia into Tomahawk Swing, because Payon Thrust, they have to either full block or not block. This card gets speed, this card gets speed, and so it's possible either they just didn't block this and then they don't have the option to block these, or something happened, you know? The fact that Devora gets speed on these cards is just really, really good. Up next, we've got 4 Syndicate Slice. This card's a good combo extender inside of our deck. It just says that our checks get lubed up a little bit better, like Devora. And if it is blocked, I get to draw additional cards. And already being a 7 hand size character that's this aggressive, just drawing additional resources is not bad. And then the last attack that we have is for Face Splitter. This is the only combo in the deck, and so Payon Thrust is the only target for its bottom enhance. But the Face Splitter is the only target for Payon Thrust's bottom enhance. I kind of said that a little weird. But this thing gets speed and damage for each weapon card in my card pool. And so having 4 or 5 weapon cards in my card pool, and then using Devora, not to mention Payon Thrust, in order to drop up Face Splitter as like my 5th, 6th, sometimes even 7th card, giving it +6, +6, plus another 7 damage. 1 Face Splitter at the end of the chain that Devora lets me pass for free just ends the game. And so if they don't have an answer to 1, maybe 2 Face Splitters, then the game's over. On to our assets. We're playing double Mace and Ace. Being able to splice any of these onto themselves is really, really solid. Accidentally doubling up on Tomahawk Swing means that the attack is not blocked. Saying that your Face Splitter gets -4 difficulty and +4 damage is fantastic. Hey, if you block my attack, I get to draw 2 cards. You're just not blocking it. And late in the chain, this matters. As well as Mace and Ace, it lets me stack, put a bunch of good checks, a bunch of foundations back inside of my deck, and so I can just roll a little hotter with Devora. Up next, we're playing 1 Manji Sword and Fuma Blade. It says if I've got 3 or more weapon cards in my card pool, which is easy to do with Devora, I'm going to be drawing additional cards. As well as, after I play Weapon Foundation, I can check a 7, which I guess Devora can't lube that check. Just kidding. After I play a weapon card, I can have my opponent destroy one of their foundations. Keep them low, keep me high. And then the last asset that we're playing is 4 Psychedelic Mushrooms. This card in here is just to be extra copies of whatever card, foundation, or asset that we need, right? So I'll pull this off to the side because one of my favorite cards to copy with Psychedelic Mushrooms is we're playing triple prolonged espionage, and this is just a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh copy of prolonged espionage. If you do live the dream and you can get all 7 of these cards out, that's +7/+7 on every attack that you play. Your opponent cannot block these. But even just finding 1 prolonged and stacking on 2 more that happen to have blocks is worth it, honestly. I think Mushrooms is one of my favorite chaos cards to toss into decks, just to, you know, cheat a little bit and play more copies of a card than you're supposed to. Up next, we're playing triple 1 with nature as my next aggressive foundation. Just discard, make my block models way harder, as well as this gets a little bit of extra damage. As long as I can make my opponent not block that last attack, it's probably just gonna one-shot them. We're playing double Keys to Humanity's Freedom. This card lets you bring in Psychedelic Mushroom on a kill turn, and just accidentally mollywop them, as well as being able to bring in Mayas and As or Manji Sword. It's just a good play, but bringing in Mushrooms is just the better of the 2 plays. Up next, we're playing triple OG Mech Ninja. This helps me lube up my check for my next weapon. Maybe I am under breaker or something. Well, I will take and play this low difficulty attack, respond, make my next check to play a weapon, get +2, and then I'll play my Face Splitter, which combos with a weapon, which OG is. It's just a good flow card, as well as it randomly gives my attacks either speed or damage, which Devora always wants more stats. On to some more flow cards. We're playing 1 True Identity, Form Commit. My checks get +1 for the rest of the turn. Fantastic inside of this deck, just being able to pop off just as way longer, and if I have any sort of way to ready this card back up, it's just fantastic. Speaking of readying cards, we've got 1 Tijuana Groceries, kind of in the same vein of True Identity, but instead of at form speed and once, Tijuana Groceries is a bit of a safety net. I commit it in order to pass my check, I remove 2 foundations, and then ready it back up. It's like I didn't even commit it in the first place. I'm using 2 resources from my discard pile in order to make my deck run smoother. Up next, we're playing 4 Recovering Lost Treasures. Once again, I'm trying to make these big, huge strings happen. And so discard a card to make sure that I guarantee pass my next check is fantastic. Really good versus Breaker, as well as it lets me selectively put cards back into my discard pile, or back in my deck, so that my Mayas and As is a little more live when I make my opponent pick the attack. Up next, we're also playing triple the Azure Nightmare. This card just says discard a card, ready a card. Maybe I did check bad one time and I haven't used my Devora's ability yet. I will discard a card and ready it back up, as well as it has a when this card is discarded ability to push a little extra damage in. Up next, we're playing double Dreaming of Becoming Whole. Fantastic spam when I discard a momentum, maybe for the response on Tomahawk Swing. I get to ready it back up, as well as it lets me lube my check just a little bit by giving +1 to my next attack. Playing triple Pure of Heart. This card's one of the best disruption or flow cards that you could say in the game, because I can just enhance commit, choose one of my opponent's cards, and they don't get to use it. One of the easiest ways to defeat Devora, that was hard to say, is to just save your good defensive piece for the last thing that she plays, because she kind of telegraphs like, hey, my next check is gonna get a little bit bigger. Hey, there's another attack coming. That's all that enhance says. Hey, there's one more coming after this. Being able to just, as your first enhance, be, hey, I'll enhance a Devora, play my next attack. My first enhance is going to be, hey, I'm going to turn that Swordfish off that puts my attack into my momentum and just negates my Devora once per turn. Hey, I'm going to turn that Whalelight off, and so you can't let me, I'm going to pump the damage and do everything that I want. This card just kind of says, if it's the first thing that I do, my opponent doesn't get to do one thing during this attack. And 9 times out of 10, that attack's going to kill them. The next, starting into our defense, we've got Double Face of a Monster. Being able to change zones is fantastic. Being able to form Deadlock, they discard a card. Really scary when my opponent's going to be taking all these attacks. But most importantly, it free, stays ready, speed hate. In the same vein, we've got triple Unpredictable Movement, enhance commit. This attack is -2 speed. If it was a charge, you can destroy it instead for the -3. This card's fine. I think commit -2 might have been power crept out a little bit, but Chaos is working with the best that it's got. Next, we've got triple Uniting Rebels. We do only have 17 Vitality, and it's really, really easy for us to squeak into Desperation. And so once we're at Desperation, this just says every turn I'm going to gain 3 Vitality, 1 for each one that exists on the field. Also, randomly it's a 6 check, which gets massive off of Devora. And then my last card, we're going to call this a Disruption card, is the Hunt for Spiders and Dragons. I will take and play this early in my chain. If my opponent has a foundation that's an issue, I will just flip it. Using the response flip after my, my death or life attack deals damage, gain 2, burn 2. Not amazing because I honestly, I don't know what death or life cards that that exist inside of the deck. It looks like nothing has death or life. Yeah. Nothing has death or life. Oh, excuse me. Face Splitter has death. Yeah, so we have a singular target for that response. So this is just in here exclusively to flip my opponent's stuff. If you like aggressive decks, Devora is the way to go. She makes everything absolutely massive and scary. Jeff said he had a blast playing this deck, and I don't blame him. If you like the profile and you want to see more out of this Devora deck, make sure you check out the matches from the Campus Championship that we recorded. And if you want to talk to Jeff or anybody at TCGU about your awesome Devora deck, make sure you go out to Patreon and support us. Patreon.com/TCGUniversity. There'll be a link in the description down below, and get access to everybody who is in TCGU, not just the faculty and the people making videos, but all of the other student body as well. So from all of us here at TCGU, thank you very much for watching, and stay learned.